it's me, Katie. I am back. It felt like time once again for a collective thrift haul. Things have been steadily piling up and I've been dying to style them in upcoming videos, so I wanted an opportunity to share them with you here first. Kind of like my version of show and tell because it's what I picked up, but also what's been on my wish list, a few favorites, you know, just something a little bit relaxed. And if you're wondering, yes, the op shops in my area are still dry as hell and somewhat overpriced. I've even ventured out to a few new areas. Not much of a difference though. But you know what? I think it's actually helped heighten my thrifting skill level to a certain degree. Like I am locked in. This is serious for me. And it means that I'm only purchasing stuff that I absolutely love and know I'm going to get the wear out of. So it's kind of helping reduce the overconsumption habits. Probably much like a lot of you, I fell in love with the Lisa Says Gar kind of Euro summer print is what I'm going to refer to it as. I don't know, it just feels really fun. But then in the back of my brain, is it giving like 2015, 2016 where we put food print on everything and then cringed about it immediately after? I don't know if I'm specifically triggered by it because I used to work in a store that stocked a bunch of this sort of stuff. But yeah, it just makes me cautious of dropping the pretty penny that is Lisa Says Gar. So I ended up settling for this little cami top, originally just Target brand, and it has kind of like a Parisian print to it. Absolutely adore the red trim. It's the sort of thing that you can style super simply, like it's gonna look great with blue denim. Obviously, I'm not experiencing Euro summer. I'm actually feeling quite left out this year because everything is geared towards the Northern Hemisphere. Like Brat summer feels like such a moment and I'm just sitting here in the middle of winter. Let's be real though, it's not going to take too long for it to heat up here and this will certainly have its time to shine. Obviously, it's absolutely no secret that your girl loves plaid. I have a trained eye for it at the thrift store at this point. For me, when it comes to plaid, the print itself carries, so it doesn't actually matter how basic the item is, which is definitely the case for this because it's just like a t-shirt dress. Like prepare to be sick of me in this because it is just gonna layer up perfectly with practically anything. Honestly, something about it feels somewhat nostalgic. Like all of a sudden I'm a tween going to a My Chemical Romance concert again. It actually should be studied how much plaid I have in my wardrobe, yet still like half of my wish list is also plaid related. For example, I'm obsessed with these little mini skirts from the brand, I think it's Telltale. They have longer length versions as well, and even the stockings that they style it with, I love. And I've definitely been influenced by all the Australians wearing It's a Darkie recently, both the shorts and the pants. Probably the longest standing thing on my wish list is the Chipova Loena skirt. It feels very out of reach. Something that gives a very similar vibe is these Hydra Opia kilts. Unfortunately, these are still out of my price range, but I do actually think it is quite well priced considering that like handmade, custom, using repurposed kilts. Actually, there's a lot of really cool small Australian brands and coincidentally, quite a few of them are featuring plaid. I think my number one style icon at the moment is Brittany Murphy in the film Uptown Girls because her wardrobe in that movie is actually insane. It is so good. It's dreamy, romantic, a little bit quirky, everything that I wish my wardrobe was. And I just felt like this skirt perfectly encapsulated that with the mismatched floral print. Low-key probably would have worked for a Carrie Bradshaw outfit in my previous Sex and the City lookbook too. But yeah, this skirt is just gorgeous and I will be continuing to shop through the lens of what would Molly Gunn wear. I'm so jealous whenever I see the TikToks of the screen accurate items. I mean, I've been a fan of dressing like characters for the longest time and I don't get too caught up on having the exact pieces, but there are some items that I'm like, damn, it would be nice. And it is kind of hard in Australia, especially if you're looking at older shows or movies because we just never really had the same stores, I guess. So the same things just aren't in circulation here necessarily. And it's expensive when I have to try and do US dollars, okay? Forever and always on my wish list though is the Moschino dress that she wears. I haven't been able to find one yet. The only thing I found is a couple of t-shirts that have that same motif, but I'm not dropping $200 on it. I'm just not. But yeah, I think that'd be like my number one all-time favorite wish list item. I have a couple of other things I'm on the lookout for at the moment. This Chloe bag with like the buckle detailing. I don't know, I think it's just cool switch up from the Balenciaga City bag that everyone's gone back to recently. Honestly, it's getting to the point where I just don't even want to engage with trend related videos anymore because I'm tired. I'm exhausted. I think what I'm mostly sick of is liking something for literal years. It finally becomes popular and then 2-3 months later, people online are talking about why it's not cool anymore. It seems to me that people just have an issue with wearing what everyone else is wearing. And I think that's because there's been such a heavy emphasis on personal style as of late, but these are low-key the same people who are following trends. So then when too many people are wearing it, they're like freak out and they need to move on to the next thing. All of that just to say that I absolutely cannot stand people saying that leopard print is a micro trend. Absolutely not. I'm sorry. You cannot say that to someone who is A, a Nana fan, and B, a Fran Fine fan. You already know I love my leopard coat that I think I've had for coming up on a decade now, and I found pretty much the same thing, but in vest form with a little hood, which is so gal almost. Honestly felt like it was meant to be because this store had 50% off absolutely everything. There was barely any clothing left at this point, but there she was just waiting for me. And actually from the same store, I picked up this little short sleeve fitted denim jacket situation. I am hoping this still fits because it looks like it kind of shrunk in the wash a little bit. I was so stoked with this one because it's been on my wish list for the longest time. I actually found something really similar at a vintage store in the city recently, so close to purchasing it, but just could not part ways with that much money for it. I don't know if you recall, but I have something with a similar sort of silhouette and I love every outfit that I've styled it with, but since it is striped, it's a little bit more restrictive of what you can pair with it. So I think this is going to be a great alternative. It doesn't necessarily matter what the aesthetic is, but I pretty much like to look like I've come out of 2006 at all times, and the lapel on this is helping us achieve those dreams. Actually, I got to admit though, if I had to choose, I definitely have a preference for mid-2000s shoujo manga. Like if I'm getting dressed for the day, I step out, it's not instantly giving shoujo girl. It's back to the drawing board. And obviously this has become kind of trending on TikTok recently, which I love to see, but definitely focusing on just one segment of shoujo girl fashion. I feel like it's like the ultra femme pink ruffles, which I absolutely adore, but there's definitely more to explore. I don't want to get too into it because I am going to do a full video on it, which I know you've heard it all before. I think I promised this like a year ago at this point, but that's what I do. I promise iconic videos and then never deliver, or deliver years later. I know you're still waiting for the Fruits magazine lookbook. Oh my god, there is actually something wrong with me. Like I think I need to be medicated for this. Anyway, in my opinion, this top definitely delivers on the shoujo girl brief. It is like a loose fitted tunic top that just sits at the perfect length. I love the ombre into this shade of green, and because it's tiered, it kind of gives that feeling of ruffles, but it's not too over the top. Obviously it'd be depending on how you style it, but it is kind of giving Mori-Kei sort of vibes, and I found myself saving more and more of that aesthetic recently, so these style of tops are definitely high on my wish list. I just feel like they're so fuss-free and comfortable, and comfortability has like skyrocketed when it comes to things I consider when I'm making a purchase. Honestly, it always should have been number one, but I learned the hard way. Okay, I was sick of buying things and just having them sitting there looking pretty in my wardrobe but never actually getting worn. This store in Vietnam is my literal dream, but if you have any recommendations for similar things either online, in Brisbane, or going soon to Japan and Korea, let me know. I'm pretty sure I mentioned in a previous video I was on the hunt for a cream poncho because I wanted to do a Sabako inspired outfit, and I didn't find a poncho, but I actually found something that I think works even better for me personally. It has a super chunky neckline with a couple of buttons, but from then on there's no fastening, so it kind of flares out and just sits really nicely. I think the reason I prefer this to a traditional poncho style is because you do actually get to see the layers underneath, so I feel like it makes a more complete outfit rather than just an afterthought that you've thrown on to keep warm. And I feel like that's kind of the beauty of thrifting your wish list rather than buying brand new, because you kind of learn to adapt rather than having that copy and paste mentality. And while we're on the topic, I have actually managed to pick up some manga at the op shops recently, which brings me great joy because this is always like my number one goal. I scour the book section and it's not very often that I have any success, but these are some pretty decent pickups. I haven't actually read Twinkle Stars yet, but I believe it's from the same author as Fruits Basket, so I thought it was worth a shot. It feels like we're very much experiencing a shoujo resurgence. I just finished watching the new season of Kimi ni Todoke. It went by way too quickly for my liking. I'm also super excited because I heard there's supposed to be a new season of Bed and Breakfast for Spirits coming out, which is one of my all-time comfort shows for some reason. I don't know why. Let me know if you guys have any recommendations, new or old. I've kind of been in a manhwa era more so recently. If I had to give a recommendation, I think I would go with Our Youth. Definitely pulls out the heartstrings though. Another book I picked up, more so coffee table material, is this one on Alexander McQueen. The only issue is there's not in the best condition. I think it must have been an ex-library book. In the store, me and also the lady working there could not find a price on it anywhere, but I realized that they randomly just wrote it on the wrong page and it has $18 on it. 18. The lady kindly gave it to me for $2. But yeah, that's definitely something that is on my wish list, a collection that I'm looking to grow. I have a couple of good ones, but I'd definitely like to add a couple more designer specifics. I could probably do an entire video just on my wish list from Musinsa. I've definitely shown some significant self-control as of late. the number one thing that I just could not stop thinking about was this little lace top from No Official, No Office. And I had seen it on a couple of K-pop idols. I know Yeri wore it, and then also I think one of the Stacy girls as well. I ended up finding this option on Depop to quench my thirst, if you will. The silhouette doesn't quite flare out the same, but it does evoke a very similar vibe for a fraction of the price. So I'm left feeling very much satisfied. Again, on the list of videos that I never follow through with, K-pop styling, I promise it is coming because I'm actually going to the aespa concert this month. So that's like the push I needed, because obviously I'm going to need your opinion on what I should wear. Heads up, I do feel like I've narrowed it down to either spicy or Armageddon era. Oh, actually, that's something else I would add to my completely unrealistic wish list, a DIA belt. I don't know how much they went for originally, but damn, they are expensive now. I don't know what happened, but I somehow managed to hit the cool girl skirt jackpot. And to me, if I had to try and describe the style, it's giving someone's favorite art/social studies teacher in the 2000s. This neutral toned one is probably my favorite of the bunch. Why is there a zipper pouch down the bottom? I have no idea, but I am here for it. Like, that's just part of the charm that makes it the effortless cool girl. I will admit it's my bad. I probably shouldn't have purchased both of these because they do give off a very similar vibe, but you know how indecisive I am and I crumble under pressure. And these are perhaps more so a style that I don't frequently wear, but definitely admire and would love to get more into. It's the sort of thing I can picture the cool girls of TikTok wearing, styling it with something simple on top and then maybe just their tabbies. Definitely more refined than what I'm used to wearing, but love the style equally. And again, I'm trying to train myself that you don't have to be doing the most at all times. Simple is okay too, and I feel like this is a great gateway for that. Actually, this kind of has the same vibe to it, I guess, with the color palette and just the simple design of off the shoulder, but I love that they added a little bit of flair to it with this little fur trim and then also the belt. The belt is kind of saggy. I'm guessing that that's why it found itself at the thrift store, but I think it'll be an easy fix. The way I really thought I was gonna eat in some minimal chic cool girl outfit in this sweater, and now I've rocked up still looking like an Aizawa character. Clearly, I cannot help it, okay? It is out of my control at this point, the need to accessorize. But on the bright side, it's just made me love the sweater even more. I'm such a sucker for a good vintage nightgown, and admittedly, I probably don't quite get the wear out of it that I should, but I would love to dabble in that sort of aesthetic more. There is one particular girl who definitely influences me. She has lived on my Pinterest for years and years, and because of her, I thought it would be good to switch it up and get a different length in the nightgown, actually making it more of a shirt situation. And hello, how could I leave this behind? It has the sweetest, most precious embroidery of these flowers. And I'm a pastel girly through and through, so instantly fell in love with the color, and my brain was like, you know what would pair perfectly with that? Baby yellow or lemon, which just in general has been on my wish list for over a year at this point, ever since I got my color analysis done, because it was like my top recommended shade. And I'm very grateful because apparently luck was on my side that day. That was one of the first things I picked up in store, and then I kept going through the racks. One of the last things I found was this, the perfect baby yellow mini dress. Obviously gonna try and team it up with the top for that vintage moment, but it is extremely short. I think it is a size too small, but I'm like, you know what? We can make it work. I think it'll also pair great over a pair of jeans for like a mid-2000s sort of feel. I also think I'm even more so in that kind of vintage mindset at the moment because I am actually doing wedding planning, and that is somewhat the theme, I suppose. Actually, that is what's number one on my wish list at the moment. I really want to do mismatched vintage floral plates. Tell me why I cannot find any. I swear once upon a time there was an abundance of them, but now they're all being sold on Facebook Marketplace for ridiculous prices, and I'm holding out hope. Please keep me in your prayers. So yeah, that was everything I wanted to share today. I hope you guys enjoyed catching up over some of my recent thrift finds. Let me know which ones were your favorite. I'm looking forward to styling them in some upcoming videos. And as always, thank you so much for your patience and support. I truly do appreciate it. If you want to keep up with me, I have been trying to post more frequently on TikTok recently, but otherwise, hopefully I see you here again really, really soon. Bye.